So Marvel Studios have just put out another film in 2021 with Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, and unlike Black Widow, this film is a theatrical only release. After watching it early in the UK, there is much to break down surrounding Marvel's latest kung fu blockbuster. I'm going to be explaining the plot, the ending, and the post-credit scenes for Shang-Chi, giving you a rundown of what's happened. This analysis will also contain spoilers, so if you do happen to be someone who hasn't seen the film yet, then I would recommend watching this video after you've seen it. But if you want to keep up to date on any of my future content on Marvel's latest films and TV shows, then don't forget to support this video by giving it a like rating, subscribing to the channel, and turning on your notifications. Also, feel free to check me out on Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, and Instagram at Cortex Videos, which is all linked in the description below. But without further ado, let's dive into my recap of Shang-Chi. So Marvel's latest film begins with showing us Wenwu's past conquering of civilizations throughout the years. Wenwu, also known as the Mandarin, is the legendary and nearly mythical leader of the criminal terrorist organization, the Ten Rings, which has lurked in the shadows since the very beginning. He is also the father of Shang-Chi and Xialing, giving us good potential for an emotional central conflict later on. And it's constantly mentioned that Wenwu has lived for 1,000 years due to the power of the rings. But as the movie's intro progresses, he learns of the Great Protector and goes to a village where he meets his future wife, where they fall in love, and Wenwu leaves the Ten Rings behind to start a family. We see that young Shang-Chi and Xialing are given a necklace by his mother, and we also tragically learn that his wife dies, leading to him taking up the Ten Rings once again. The character Shang-Chi begins his film nowhere near said rings though, thanks to his father controlling them. At the outset, Shang-Chi, or as he's known by his American name, Sean, rejects his powerful origins, so much so that we get to know him as a mild-mannered car valet who does not sneak out at night to fight crime. It's at this job in modern-day San Francisco that he pals around with party-loving Katy, who catches flack from her family for failing short of high expectations. They spend some time getting you used to the characters and their motivations, especially with Katy, and a lot of it is focused on parental struggles. This is a good thing to stress on because of the movie's later focus on the fallout between Shang-Chi and Wenwu. But we soon get into the action when Sean and Katy take a bus to work, and a man approaches Sean, telling him to give up the necklace that his mother gave him as a child. Sean refuses, and a hectic fight begins, in which he defeats multiple men, and Razorfist comes out to battle. During it, Razorfist destroys the brakes on the bus and splits it in half, but Sean and Katy eventually escape. It's also funny to note that during this scene, a guy on the bus is vlogging the fight, and this same person is the one who told Spider-Man to do a flip in Spider-Man Homecoming. There's a lot of Easter eggs like this and references to certain characters in other MCU movies, which is cool to see in terms of continuity, and it doesn't really affect the events occurring. But coming back to the events, Sean realizes during the fight that Razorfist has taken the necklace and that his father had sent him. They go back to Sean's apartment, where he reveals that his sister had also recently sent him a postcard of where he thinks she lives, and Katy decides that she will go with him to find her. And on the plane, Sean tells Katy about his origin and that his real name is actually Shang-Chi, alongside that he ran away at 14 years old when his father gave him his first mission. And the city Shang and Katy are flying to is Macau, not Madripoor as was previously rumoured. But after catching up with what Shang-Chi has been up to and where he and Katy are going, we now begin to get into his grown-up sister when they reach their destination. Xialing, we learn, runs an underground fight club in which we get another Easter egg, with this one being in reference to Iron Man 3, with an extremist soldier fighting in one of the small rings. This leads into the fight that fans have been anticipating since the trailers, with Wong and Abomination having a brawl in a cage. Wong calls Abomination Emil, and it seems they actually know each other, and after Wong wins the fight thanks to the help of one of his portals, they leave the location using one. It seems they are working together for some reason that isn't explained, but I'm sure that in future movies this will become something that is explored further. Shang is told during the fight that he himself has to battle in the ring, and if he does, he will be told about his sister. We also learn that he has become somewhat famous after a video from the bus fight leaked via that same homecoming guy that we mentioned before. It's kind of an odd reflection of what happened with the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer recently, and I must say I did find it pretty hilarious thinking about that situation when this came on the screen. But when Shang gets in the ring, he soon finds out that his opponent is actually his own sister. We see that she is a fantastic fighter who does indeed win this fight, but regardless of her winning, the pair still go for a discussion in her office afterwards. We learn that she is upset about Shang leaving when they were kids, and he asks why she sent a postcard with her revealing that she actually didn't. Conveniently, the 10 ring soldiers arrive and invade the building, with his sister fleeing and Shang and Katy escaping through the window onto some scaffolding. It's here that Shang fights Death Dealer, with Xialing saving Katy in the nick of time. In the comics, Death Dealer is an MI6 agent named Li Xinglin, though he is actually a double agent who works for Fu Manchu, and during that time, Shang-Chi and Death Dealer face off against each other on multiple occasions, during which Death Dealer uses everything available to him, including grenades, to defeat him. He eventually returns to Fu, who was using the alias Wang Yuseng, and he anointed Lin as the Death Dealer, giving him the classic mask and costume. But during the sequence in the movie we get with Death Dealer, he steals Xialing's necklace, and it leads to Shang eventually fighting him inside. He does get the upper hand and is about to kill him, but in a moment of surprise, Wenwu comes out and stabilizes the situation. Wenwu tells Shang, Xialing and Katy that they need to go home and takes them back to his compound. When they arrive, Wenwu brings them to a shrine-like area where he shows them why he needed the pendants, and he puts the two pendants onto a sculpture of a dragon to form its two eyes. Water surrounds them and the floor illuminates, showing a maze that contains a special glow of a certain path. Wenwu explains that this is a clue on how to get their mother back, and he explains how she is trapped inside of a cave within her village, and how the only way to get to the village is to use this path. So we finally get some emotional context that connects back to the opening sequence in an important way, and it's honestly something that I was really happy about. In Black Widow, we didn't get enough fleshing out of certain emotional beats, but Shang-Chi did that a lot better. Shang is of course in shock at this moment too, following his father's comments, saying how it's impossible because she's dead, but Wenwu says that he hears her voice telling him to go save her. Shang asks what they will do once they get to the village, and Wenwu says that he will burn the whole city down. So it's a villain that is on one side understandable, but on the other quite relentless. This obviously makes them angry at Wenwu, and they respond by saying that they won't help him, so he puts them, including Katy, in prison. When they are down there, they hear a strange noise, and once they look towards the back of the prison cell, they see the Mandarin, aka Trevor Slattery, who previously appeared in Iron Man 3. So the previous appearance of an extremist soldier has come full circle, and now the fake villain from that film has finally returned. He is practicing a monologue, and it's later revealed that the Ten Rings organization took him out of federal prison and that they were going to kill him until the men took a liking to his performances. He was effectively a jester to Wenwu. The character also introduces them to Morris, a furry creature and friend of Trevor, who is from Ta Lu, also known as the Mum's Village. Ta Lu is in another dimension, and the cities that were destroyed were within that dimension. Trevor translates what Morris says, with us finding out that there is a faster way to get to the village, and that he can help them get there because he wants to go home. While they are talking, Xialing digs through to the tunnel system, which is how she originally escaped the compound, and they go through the tunnel to the garage and steal Razorfist's car. They get in a high-speed chase, but eventually make it out of the compound in the car, and they drive to the magical bamboo forest, with Morris telling them to wait for the perfect moment. The bamboo opens and they have to stay within the confines of the opening, which is rapidly moving, and through the help of Katy, they do make it to the waterfall that eventually takes them to Ta Lu. The people of the village are waiting for them and do not accept them until Shang's aunt comes out and welcomes them there. They are told about an ancient evil called the Dweller in the Darkness that eats souls and took many cities, and it was only defeated by the help of a dragon. Shang-Chi and Xialing in turn are given dragon scale armor, a gift from their mother. Katy trains with a bow and arrow, while Shang trains with his aunt to learn the dragon magic fighting style. But we do also get a well-needed flashback to the death of Shang-Chi's mother. We learn that she hides her children before dying at the hands of the Iron Gang, who says she has to pay for her husband's sins. Wenwu retaliates and uses the rings to kill them, and we find out that Shang-Chi's mission, where he ran away, was to kill the last person responsible for his mother's death. Shang seems to insinuate he did actually kill the person he was sent to kill before running away, showing to us that he lied previously. But after some resolutions, Shang says to Katy that he's going to kill his father, and it's at this moment where the 10 rings once again attack, this time the village, and the final battle begins. Shang-Chi fights Wenwu, and his father opens the cave where the evil bat resides, alongside little bats who come out and start eating souls. Death Dealer is the first to get his soul sucked, and that's when Razorfist decides to turn and fight together with the villagers against the soul suckers. The 10 rings and the villagers team up, and the soldiers realise their weapons cannot defeat them. But as all hope is lost, the dragon awakens Shang underwater, meaning that he can use his magic, which plays as kind of an emotional awakening, leading to Shang getting out of the water and fighting Wenwu to gain control of all 10 rings. He is about to kill his father, but then stops because he doesn't want to be an assassin. The giant evil bat soul breaks loose and takes Wenwu along with it, who also gets the rings back in the process, but while his soul is being eaten away, he decides symbolically to pass them back to Shang. Shang and Xialing in turn ride the dragon, defeat baby bats, and almost defeat the Dweller in the Darkness, but it has already eaten too many souls and begins to become even bigger. It tries to eat the dragon's souls, and Xialing almost gets taken by it, but Shang says that he will not let her go again in another moment of emotional resonance. However, in the nick of time, Katy shoots the bat in the neck, stopping it, and Shang-Chi puts the 10 rings into the creature's stomach. He continues by falling through the air and executing his dragon magic fighting style, eventually triggering the rings from within the Dweller in the Darkness to explode. In the end, the town remembers the fallen, and the dragon eventually leaves, with characters like Trevor, Morris, and Razorfist also surviving the battle. Some time passes and we reach our conclusion, where Shang and Katy are at dinner with a high school friend that they went to dinner with at the beginning of the film. They tell her the story of the battle, and she thinks that they are all crazy until Wong shows up via a sling ring. He asks Shang and Katy if they have the rings and advises them to come with him, in which they all go to the sanctum. But even though the movie ends there, the post-credit scenes continue this somewhat, with some famous characters also making surprising appearances. The first post-credit scene is Wong with Shang-Chi and Katy in the Sanctum following the ending of the movie. They are talking with Bruce Banner, who is in human form, not as Professor Hulk, and also Captain Marvel, who has longer hair now, and they talk about the 10 rings as a power and how there's other things in the universe they must not know about. Bruce and Carol are there using the same kind of hologram tech Natasha uses to talk with them in Avengers Endgame, and they also mention that there's something in the 10 rings acting as a beacon sending a signal. They say the rings are not in any of the Sanctum's archives, they can't identify the energy, and it's way older than the 1,000 years that Wenwu had it. When Katy and Shang ask where it's sending to, Captain Marvel gets a message and she and Bruce leave. Bruce is also still wearing a sling, and Wong basically says to them, "Welcome to the team." But after the credits, we get another cutscene where the sister is in her old room and someone says, "They're here," leading to her walking out. She's taken over to her father's palace, the 10 Rings banner is now red, and her army is around her while she sits on the throne. We zoom out and people are training as we watch the new leader. This leads to a title card saying the 10 rings will return, so it looks like we will be getting deeper into the world of Shang-Chi in later films. We'll have to see what they do with the storyline in a potential sequel, and it will be interesting to see how they answer some of the questions that remain. What are Wong and Abomination up to? Where is the signal being sent? And what will happen under the new leader's rulership? These are on a list of many things to resolve, but this first film did a good job of establishing the world and telling an emotion-rooted story that they can hopefully build on with momentum. But that was my video explaining the plot and ending for Shang-Chi. I hope this did help some of you guys understand the events a bit better, and I'm looking forward to hearing what else you picked out in the film, so don't forget to let me know down below in the comment section. I will also be doing a video essay for Shang-Chi next week too, so keep a lookout for whenever I post. For more breakdown videos on all upcoming films and shows in the MCU, then subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like rating and follow me on social media via the links in the description. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've been Cortex, and as always, make some noise.